Let's be honest. People are tired. Not the kind of tired a nap fixes. I mean, that deep soul exhaustion that comes from carrying too many identities, too many expectations, and too many versions of themselves that no longer fit. What if the reason society feels so unstable right now is because the world is missing one thing: trained metaphysical practitioners who can guide people back to themselves in real time. This episode is about why the world needs more metaphysical practitioners now. We'll explore why overwhelm and soul exhaustion have become the new normal, why outdated spirituality isn't meeting the moment anymore, and why applied metaphysical science is becoming essential for real time transformation. So stick around, like and subscribe, and I'll be right back. We are not in the age of gurus, we are in the era of metaphysical practitioners, people trained to translate metaphysical principles into daily practical shifts. Society is no longer seeking gurus, psychics, or outdated spiritual methods. They need modern, practical metaphysical science they can apply in real time. And that's where you come in. Welcome to Modern Metaphysical Science with Dr. Karina Felix. I'm the founder of the Ophidian Institute for Metaphysical Science and Lifestyle Mastery, a home for future metaphysical scientists ready to embody and teach practical metaphysical principles, elevate their lifestyle into affluence, influence, and unapologetic opulence while gaining the credibility and opportunities that certification provides. Each episode moves beyond outdated spirituality into the new era of applied metaphysical science, giving you the tools to guide and support others in real time. This is where body, mind, and soul become one, and where you get to contribute from a space of overflow and freedom. Right now, the world is moving faster than most people can process. Everything feels loud, everything feels pulled. We're watching society break old systems in real time. And nobody handed us a new manual. So people wake up scattered, conflicted, overwhelmed, unsure of what's theirs and what they've absorbed from the noise. So, why are people so overwhelmed, overworked, and disappointed at the world and sometimes at themselves? People are confused because no one ever taught them how to navigate their inner world. No one taught them how to self observe instead of self attack, how to regulate their energy the same way they regulate their home life, how to interpret experience through causation instead of emotion, understanding how the world works and the reasons for the way it is evolving. This is where applied metaphysical science enters. Not the old school, burn your incense, float through the room, say a mantra, and hope for the best spirituality. That was cute for its time, but it doesn't hold up in a world that requires real time clarity and real time decision making. People don't need more gurus. They don't need another psychic reading to tell them what might happen. They don't have to seek another crystal ball interpreter to give them false hopes and short term relief. They need practical metaphysical tools that help them think, interpret, self direct, and respond to a life with precision. Tools that actually restructure consciousness, not decorate it. Modern metaphysical science does exactly that. It explains the mechanics behind human behavior, emotional patterns, resonance, identity, perception, causation, creation, and the energetic architecture we operate from, whether we know it or not. Most people are in constant default mode. They aren't even aware of why certain things happen to them, not just once, but keeps repeating. It's not just a pattern or habit they established, but more of a state of unconscious acceptance that things are the way they are and that's the way it's supposed to be. That is the furthest thing from the truth. The truth is that society, for way too long, took away our independence, our sovereignty, our free will to choose, think, and be who we authentically are. And that made sense in the past. And I'm talking about centuries and centuries ago. And that's because humanity didn't understand the world around them back then. The world was a confusing, scary place. But we now live in the 21st century. Scientists, engineers, philosophers, metaphysicists have done a great job throughout time to bring us answers so that we no longer function from a blind perspective. Technology, innovation, even AI is here to make our lives easier, not more confusing and overwhelming. So, what is the present solution? That's what I'm sharing on this channel. Metaphysical science was put out there on the shelf with outdated spirituality. But that's the furthest thing from the truth. Metaphysical science is a science category like any other science department. So, why did it get so mixed up to such an extent? Well, the biggest part is that while most other sciences have used metaphysical principles to understand the world, the one thing they are not able to explain in its entirety is consciousness, our soul, its mission and purpose, and how we fit within this life and the afterlife. Metaphysical science not only takes us through our journey here on earth, it also takes us through our journey after we cross over, right up to the next trip back to earth. This is a forever journey. It never ends. And when we understand that, then we start to design our lives very differently. And that is why the world needs more metaphysical practitioners now more than ever. Because while people are drowning in information, what they're starving for is interpretation. They want someone who can help them understand what's happening inside them and around them. Someone who can walk them through their own patterns without judgment. Someone trained to see beneath the surface and explain the metaphysical cause not just the emotional effect. You know, when we look at the state of the world right now, it's easy to think everything is crumbling. People feel overwhelmed, uncertain, dysregulated, disconnected from themselves, disconnected from meaning, and disconnected from any sense of inner authority. And here's the truth: no one is naming clearly enough. Technology has evolved at warp speed, but the human nervous system hasn't. Innovation leaped forward, but consciousness didn't keep pace. We're living in an age where people have endless information, endless content, endless options. And yet they feel more confused and lost than ever. Why? Because information alone doesn't create transformation. Soul level coherence does. Applied metaphysical science does. And trained practitioners, people who understand how to guide others into clarity, alignment, and personal sovereignty in real time, they do. Society is no longer looking for gurus on pedestals or psychics making predictions. People are craving practical metaphysical principles they can use today, not someday, not mystical superstition, not airy spirituality, actual metaphysical mechanics that help them understand their identity, their frequency, their choices, their patterns, their power. That's where metaphysical practitioners come in. They are translators between the unseen and the everyday. They help people apply the science of consciousness to their relationships, careers, health, money, nervous system, and emotional well being. Metaphysical practitioners are guides, not authorities. They're calibrators. They help people come home to themselves. If you look around, you see the signs everywhere. People really are overwhelmed, not because they're broken, but because they don't have the tools. They don't have the skills, the framework. They don't understand how to work with their own energy or their own mind. They don't know how to communicate with their soul or even recognize its voice. And this gap is widening faster than most people realize. The faster society moves, the more we need metaphysical practitioners who can stabilize the collective frequency, one person at a time. This really is the era of metaphysical practitioners, not the gurus, not the influencer, not the mystic selling crystals and incense as a lifestyle. I'm talking about trained metaphysical scientists, people who understand modern metaphysical principles, grounded applications, and embodied demonstration. People who know how to teach others how to function in this world without being consumed by it. You've heard me say this before: be in the world, but not affected by it. That's a skill. It's a skill set, a teachable, learnable, repeatable skill set. And that's why the need is so great right now. We are witnessing a wave of identity confusion, soul fatigue, generational dysfunction, and emotional overwhelm. People really don't need to escape. They need to integrate. They need to understand themselves from the inside out. They need someone who can hold a higher frequency and show them what alignment actually feels like. And that someone is the modern metaphysical practitioner. People, this is not a trend. This is a shift in human evolution, a complete new paradigm, complete new framework. And the people who step into this work now, who train, certify, and choose to lead, will become the stabilizing pillars in the next decade of consciousness development. Because the world doesn't change through preaching, it changes through embodied demonstration. One practitioner, one conversation, one moment of clarity at a time. This is the work I've dedicated decades to. The models, the framework, the teachings, the curricula I developed inside the Ophidian Institute for Metaphysical Science and Lifestyle Mastery. Every part of it is designed for one purpose: to create practitioners who can guide others with clarity, integrity, and modern metaphysical intelligence. A true metaphysical practitioner isn't a performer of rituals. They're interpreters of consciousness, a facilitator of internal coherence, a teacher of how to operate from alignment instead of confusion. And society is quietly begging for that. People really are seeking identity, agency, and inner stability in a world that keeps shifting the ground. They want the skills to live a better life. That's why this work matters. That's why this profession matters. And that's why you matter if you feel called to it. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about woo-woo. It's about giving people the capacity to return to themselves, to remember their own authority, to reclaim their internal space, to navigate a world with a clear, coherent soul. The world needs more of that. The world needs more of you. Because the world is changing fast. And if there's one thing I want you to take from today's conversation is this: people aren't just overwhelmed and overworked. They're awakening. And awakening requires guidance. Again, not from gurus, not from psychics, but from trained metaphysical practitioners who understand how to help others rise without losing themselves. And if you're ready to explore what it looks like to become a certified modern metaphysical practitioner, someone who teaches from overflow, not depletion, I invite you to schedule a conversation with me. The world needs more practitioners who can teach compassion, discernment, and practical tools from a metaphysical perspective, not outdated psychoanalysis or spiritual fluff. If you feel called to join this new movement of modern metaphysical teachers, coaches, and guides, I invite you to schedule a call with me. Let's have a conversation. I'm open to hearing your experiences, questions, and reflections. Remember, this is the path of conscious awakening, a paradigm shift where understanding, acceptance, and empowered action replace resentment, regret, and disconnection. Please like, subscribe, and schedule a free frequency session with me. Check on the description for the link. Thank you for listening to Modern Metaphysical Science with Dr. Karina Felix. The world needs your presence, your guidance, and your embodiment of modern metaphysical principles. Until next time, walk your path from a place of affluence, influence, and unapologetic opulence.